You know your day's off to a rip-roaring start when the first thing Lonzo says to you is, all right. All right.
And not in a Matthew McConaughey way.
Yeah, not like,
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
It's like, the bed's been playing a while.
Yeah.
You probably should talk. Hey,
So Captain America Chris Evans and down the hall, and
our former roommate.
correct, our former roommate in the Fortress of Nerditude, turned nerd-in-chief of the building, pops in. And for those of you who have not followed the show, Chris and I are big fans of debate about semantics, about wordplay, about,
A bird just crashed into the window.
Is that what that was?
That was a bird, yes.
R.I.P. little buddy, because he hit hard.
Kamikazes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
it goose. It wasn't a goose.
No.
Because if it was a goose, it'd have come through the window and I'd have been in a fist fight right
It was brownish.
Wing fight?
It was brownish, but that could have been the impact. I don't know.
true
It
story.
was pretty quick.
now. All right. R.I.P., buddy. Good luck. Anyway, Chris and I like to play word game, have word discussions. And we were having a discussion about a word that I said on the show a couple of weeks ago that Lonzo was uncomfortable with, and how Chris agreed, right? Chris said that word in certain circles is viewed as a dirty word, which me and my background never heard that word used as a dirty word. And then we started talking about other words that may be considered in some groups and some families not dirty, and in others will make people uncomfortable. I mean, I think I can say crap, right? Like, to me, that's not that bad of a word. But Chris is like, yeah, to some people, that's like, he said to my mom, that's the same as saying boat, right? That's the same as dropping an S-bomb if you say that word. And I found it really, really interesting. Blah, blah, blah. Chris and I talk about 12 seconds over the intro bed of the show, and Lonzo's like, all right. And I know he was directing it at Chris. Like, hey, man, my guy's got a show to do.
No. I was directed at you.
Yeah, fair enough.
We only have so much bed.
Fair enough.
I mean, there's only. I've extended the bed. I did that when we got the new bed.
Probably for the best.
I always do that.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Because it's never long enough, and because I'd rather have room to fade if I want to fade out or let it breathe a little bit. But you just that thing was mouth breathing. It was about near the end.
Friday, baby. Welcome to the Rob Brown Show on a Friday. This is the Fan Upstate. Good morning, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? Great to be with you. I am going to second Steven's question, Lonzo, and ask you, Maverick yes or Maverick no?
All right, here's where I go broadcast professional, award-winning broadcast professional,
I
and
need
say
spoilers.
you'll have to wait until tomorrow night. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Yes, if
I
you
just didn't know is it good or not. I don't need like a whole review yet.
All
I
right.
will tune in tomorrow to the Upstate Pulse for the review.
Okay. All right. So if you are a fan of the film, you're going to enjoy it. It was interesting, the demographics.
When you say if you're a fan of the film, you're going to enjoy it,
All right.
I assume that you mean the original Top Gun.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I don't know if I'm a fan of this film. I haven't seen it.
All right. So going to be that kind of day. All right. I will respond in kind multiple times.
All right.
I apologize. I'm trying not to give away too much.
I know you're not.
And I'm also really want people to tune in tomorrow to hear more.
Listen.
Go see it. Okay? There we go.
That's
Go
all I
see
needed.
it. Go see it.
Donnie.
It was nearly sold out in the IMAX last night at 6:30. To the point where people were actually in that front couple rows.
Yeah.
It wasn't full down there, but
Yeah.
some people said, I got to see this. I don't
Would you rather
care.
wait? I'd rather wait a week.
Yeah, I'd rather wait.
a week.
Because my neck will not move
Yeah.
for like weeks if I do
Y'all
that.
be watching me on the stream looking at the ceiling
Yeah.
the next day.
Yeah. Luckily, these people were shorter, so they didn't have to look up as
Wait,
far.
how far back were you? Lonzo buys his advance tickets like 3 months out.
We've
so-
only done that a couple times,
Right.
actually. But for this, we did because I wanted to see it in
Yeah, yeah.
IMAX. We actually bought a Monday, I think. So we were good. you check just to see if it's starting to fill
Yeah.
up, and it's like, whoa, okay, let's go ahead and buy them now.
No, you do the assigned seating, right? Like that's the way to go.
Well,
now,
I gotta
right?
tell you, all theaters are assigned seating now. At least,
they
at least the ones that I go to.
So here's the thing. Most of the movies I have gone to, and even when we went and saw the Batman, when the Batman dropped, I mean, it was relatively full, but it wasn't capacity, right? I kind of assumed that this movie for like a week, especially in IMAX theaters, and I assume IMAX theaters are probably the only ones that are selling out now, especially considering there's so many Cineplexes around here that have like 17 theaters. So if they have a movie of this size, they're just going to put it on like 9 screens.
Well, not on Thursdays though. On Thursdays, it's usually only a couple screens.
Right.
But
Most people, and you've said this a number of times, most people either don't know or don't pay attention to the fact that you can go see weekend debut movies at 6:30 on Thursday.
Yeah, and even if you're watching the trailers on TV, they're still saying Friday.
Sure.
Even though you can go see it on Thursday. Almost every big time you can look and go, that's going to be a pretty big movie. And if it's a Marvel movie, a DC movie, if it's a blockbuster type movie, it's going to come out on Thursday.
Yeah. And so obviously Top Gun being I mean, it looks like it would be a movie that would be good even if you haven't seen Top Gun.
True. But having some backstory because of what the storyline, it makes it hit harder.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the first one, watch the first one before you go see the second one, because there's some things that happen plot-wise where you will look at it and go, oh, man. So that's all I'm saying.
I dig it. That's all. That's all I needed, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, 7 to 9 p.m. On 106.3 WORD. Make sure you turn in to the best talk radio show that Odyssey offers, the Upstate Pulse. 7 to 9 p.m. tomorrow, 106.3 WORD. Lonzo is going to give you a spoiler-free breakdown of Top Gun Maverick because he was the first private screening for Lonzo last night to see Top Gun Maverick.
Date night, went on date night. In the midst of tornado warnings and everything, we're going to go see this movie because we were probably safer in the theater as to being home around all those trees. So,
by the way, can the weather chill? What a weird week.
Yeah, I know.
Not having fun. Not a good time.
But it's kind of...
I feel bad for Chris Justice. My guy has been on the grind. Like every 20 minutes, I get the notification of the Facebook that's like, yo, Chris Justice is live again.
This is when he makes his money. It's like when during NFL draft season, Rich Eisen and those guys are on for like 4 or 5 days straight or something. This is when he makes his money.
And by the way, props to Chris Justice. I mean, props to every meteorologist in the market because this week has been a pain in the rear. Props to all of them, but, fist bump to Chris Justice, who, again, I don't know about y'all, like, my dude goes live on Facebook every 10 minutes. I wish I had the commitment to going live on Facebook that Chris does.
Well, in August, when we go to win another award, we'll go up and congratulate
That's true.
him.
That's true. I did get the chance to meet him at the Star Wars last year. Nice guy. Really nice guy. So good on Chris and everybody for busting it. Because it has been a very weird week. A very weird week. All right. We got a lot of stuff to get into here on the radio broadcast today. And we start, I called it, the only NBA series I have gotten correct so far, though I do have the chance. If Boston can win, I could go 2 for 2, not just on winners, but number of games. I gave you in this one, I gave you Warriors in 5. I said I think Luka can probably steal 1, but Warriors in 5. 120, 110 last night. It is done. It is over. And Klay Thompson decided to show back up. 32 points for Klay. 8 of 16, 50% from deep. 12 of 25 from field goal range. Also added a couple of boards, 3 assists and a steal on top of that, plus 18 in the plus minus. Klay had himself a night. All 5 starters for the Warriors in double figures. Draymond 17, Wiggins 18, Looney 10, Curry 15. Curry, by the way, 2 of 7 from deep, 5 of 17. Here, Zoe, here's why I like Golden State, and here's why I think that regardless of Boston or Miami, although I think Boston gives them the better challenge because they're a much better defensive team, here's why I think Golden State is your NBA finalist, or excuse me, your NBA champions this year. It is because, we talked about Dallas. If Luka doesn't show up, Dallas can't win, right? Boston, if Jalen or Jason don't show up, they need both to show up. Boston can't win. Miami, if Jimmy Buckets doesn't show up, who, by the way, has not been showing up every game of the series, Miami can't win. Every other team that made the postseason had that guy that if that guy doesn't show up, they can't win. If Steph Curry doesn't show up, and don't get me wrong, 15 on 5 of 17 and 2 of 7 from the arc isn't being invisible. My man also chipped in 9 assists. But if Steph doesn't show up, Zoe, the Warriors can still win. Because while Klay Thompson may not be considered an elite star, while Draymond, while Andrew Wiggins may not be considered an elite star, and oh, by the way, Jordan Poole, maybe the best bench player in the entire association, may not be considered a star. If Steph shows up and only buckets 15 for you, the Warriors can still win. They can still beat anybody in the league. If you can hold Steph to a pedestrian 12, 13, 14, 15 points, the Warriors have enough dudes around him that they can still win the game. And they showed it last night, even on a night where Luka went 28. Although, by the way, scored 28, 10 of 28 from the floor, 3 of 13 from deep, 5 of 7. He did pitch in 9 rebounds. He did have 6 assists, but he was minus 12 on the plus minus. Even if Luka's having a day and Steph's not, the Warriors can still win, and that will hold true against Miami or Boston. This team is not getting credit. We hear all the time, Zoe, I wish there was still team basketball. I wish the NBA had teams. This is it. This is your team. You don't have to like them as individuals. You don't have to like Draymond. You don't have to like Steph. But this is the best team in the National Basketball Association.
Well, I can put bias aside because I don't like the coach. I don't like the team. I don't like most of the players. I'm okay with Klay. But they are the best team in basketball. But you know what? The best team doesn't always win. So you can't just say, well, you could say, well, that's it. They're just going to win. So whoever comes out of the East, they don't have a chance, but I'm not going to believe that because then what's the point of playing the games? We've seen people be upset. We saw them be on the edge of being upset themselves earlier on in the playoffs. So they can be beat. It's not like they've swept everybody. So I'm
Sure.
rooting for the East. I'm rooting for at least a good, even if they ultimately win it all. Do you want to sweep? I don't. I want to see this thing go 6-7 games.
I will also say about the because you're right, the Warriors had themselves a tough first round series, a tough second round series. They also had a tough round, first and second round series with a very banged up Klay and a very banged up Steph Curry, right? They didn't have Steph in the first round. Steph came back in the second round. They played the first round without him. When he came back in the first round, he hadn't played basketball in 3, 4, 5 weeks at that point. It was going to take some time. Now that stuff has started to fall in line for the Warriors, now that the injury bug has been held at bay, now that Steph and Klay are back at 100%, this is the best team in the National Basketball Association. That's not to say they won't lose a game or they can't lose a game. They clearly can. They had Dallas outmatched from the beginning. From the beginning, they had Dallas outmatched, right? Dallas still won a game. Of course Dallas still won a game. Of course Dallas still won a game. It's the NBA. The worst team in the NBA may only be a 17, 18, 20 win team, but they're going to get 20 wins, and 2 or 3 of those are going to come against really good basketball teams that we don't believe can lose. However, the best teams, the teams that are going to win 60, like the Warriors, and they didn't win 60 this year, but in years past, you get what I'm saying? A 50-win ball club is going to drop a couple to less talented teams. That's why I like 7-game playoffs in the NBA. You know, in football, it's rarely going to be chalk, yeah? In football, it's rarely going to be chalk because in the NFL, with a couple, there's a reason we all remember the teams that went 0 in a season. Detroit, Tampa, right? It's because it's remarkably rare. Even the worst NFL teams are going to jump up and bite somebody. So the worst NFL team in the playoff, more than certainly, can occasionally beat the best overall team in the NFL. And it happens in the playoffs that the number 1 seed falls to a wild card team. 7-game series, that doesn't happen, right? If the NFL did a 7-game series, it'd be chalk every time. It'd be chalk every time. The NBA does that. Now, every now and then you see a 4 seed beat a 1 seed, but almost every time you see that happen, when you go back and you look at the 4 seed, look at Brooklyn this year, right? If Brooklyn was 100% coming into the playoffs, if the Nets were 100% coming into the playoffs, which they weren't, they were a 4 seed. The reason that they were a 4 seed, or an 8 seed or whatever they were, the reason they were a lower seed isn't because they were bad at basketball. Isn't because they were a pedestrian team. Isn't because they didn't have talent. There were reasons. Granted, the reasons were their own fault, right? The reasons were Kyrie only being available half of the games. The reasons were injuries. It was drama with James Harden that they brought about themselves because, my goodness, if only somebody would have told Brooklyn that James Harden's all drama and you're not going to get the numbers out of him you want. Hello, Philadelphia. There were reasons they were a low seed. Reasons. So for that low seed to win, it wouldn't have been a huge shock. Golden State beating Phoenix was not a shock to me, right? Oh, it's the 1 seed. They lost, right. But look at that 1 seed Phoenix against New Orleans, who gave up 2 games to a team that probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs, if I'm being honest with you, in the New Orleans Pelicans. Beating Phoenix Dallas beating Phoenix isn't a shock because that was a team that only had Devin Booker. Chris Paul disappeared. Golden State drumming Dallas, not a surprise because they are the best conglomeration of talent and arguably the best the best team overall in terms of chemistry, right? You may not like Draymond, you may not like Steph, you may not like Clay, you may not like Andrew Wiggins, who a lot of people thought was a journeyman, but the Warriors and Steve Kerr are bringing something out of Andrew Wiggins, who got 18 last night, led every score with the exception of Klay Thompson. They're getting something. They're getting something off the bench out of Jordan Poole. That's unbelievable right now. They're getting something out of Kevon Looney, who has been a remarkable rebounder. 18 boards for him last night, right? 18 boards for him last night.
At the same time, I've heard all this before. This is a repeat. It's something that you hear almost every year that Golden State is in the finals, but they've been beaten in the finals before.
Sure.
And not necessarily by a better team.
No, they've been beaten by a superstar doing best player to ever do it stuff in the past, right? Is that guy in the playoffs right now? And I'm not talking about specifically Braun. I'm just saying in general, between Miami, between Boston, is there that guy that can equal out 2 of the Warriors' 3 stars having a big night?
No, there's not.
Yeah. That's it to me. Miami's a fun team to watch play. I like Miami. It's a gritty team. I like Jimmy Butler. I like Tyler Hero. I like Bam Adebayo, He's the only reason they were in that game the other night for a little while. I like these teams, or excuse me, I like these dudes. I absolutely do.
By the way, is Tyler Hero back tonight? Do we know?
Don't know yet. Got to check on that. Anyway, there's some good players left, but there's not that guy. There's not a Braun left. There's not a Shaq left. There's not a guy that is going to be capable of elevating a good team to what the Warriors are right now. Guys, this should not be a shock. This is a dynasty. There have only been 3 teams that did 6 finals in 8 years. All of them had a legendary player on them. The Bulls did it with Jordan in the 90s. Magic's Lakers did it twice. That's it. That's the list. I think there may have been one more. But I'm pretty sure that's the list. So the only way you do 6 finals in 8 years is to have Michael or Magic, even if you don't win them all. Good luck. Good luck. All right, let's take a break. 844-326-3663. Your phone calls are welcomed and encouraged. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. FAN will read your text on the air. Back after this. Lonzo Rob you. The Rob Brown Show's on the Fan Upstate. Was the bird inverted? Steven, you're a brilliant man. I just came up with the Top Gun middle finger salute. Go inverted. Ginga says Luka is not good as a defender. I mean, listen, his game is not focused on defense. I agree with you. I think part of it.
He's not horrible at it either.
No, he's not.
I
horrible.
mean, he's not James Harden bad.
Right. He's not horrible. He at least throws down for it. The problem that I think you bump into, right? I think the problem that you bump into when you talk about this is that Luka's got nobody behind him to trust, right? So if somebody beats Luka, it's not like he's got somebody to kind of guard his help side and force guys to run on him and then back out. Skrilla, welcome in, buddy. The show for dudes. Happy Friday, everybody. This is the show for your boys. Also, they just did NHL Stanley Cup date replays with Pat Bev, and they had Pat Bev breaking them down. I 100% want to know what Patrick Beverley said about the NHL, because I imagine it's hilarious. Because Pat Bev wants to fight everybody, so I assume he's a big hockey guy, right? The amount of violence in Patrick Beverley's game. Remember when he I completely forgot about this. Remember last year when he shoved the hell out of Chris Paul? I mean, he almost killed Chris Paul by shoving him in the back. Pat Bev is a violent man. I got to assume he's a big hockey bro.
The impacts in hockey are very, very violent for sure. By the way, I enjoyed your email response to the pictures. I'm just not responding. I told you what my response is, but that's just me not being happy with myself.
So,
You looked amazing in the pictures, except for right over here.
I regret everything.
I wasn't specific. I could have been.
Don't say things to Lonzo, ladies and gentlemen.
You didn't. I just was in the room. You were saying it to Chris, but yeah, there we go. You can definitely tell where the fun was.
This will shock some people on the thread, specifically Keegan and Lonzo. But I reply to emails with the same passion that I respond to text messages. And so I've gotten an email from the boss that has said, I need you to be better about replying to emails. Hence my reply to that email.
I'm not replying for a reason. I want to have a discussion as to why there is not more of a variety. And
I didn't count. Do they have
they did.
Okay.
They did. Which means that my stuff was really, really bad, more than likely. And here's the other thing. You and I, we move a lot.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't quite get my chin right because, it's like neck. I mean, that's just, I get it. I mean, I'm not quite Otis level, but it's neck.
Not Otis level because there's no neck. It's just
Been this way since high school when I learned how to bridge. Then this happened and it hasn't went away.
Friday. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show, getting weird on your radio on a Friday morning. Rob, the great one, Lonzo.
I'm doing the German dance club.
Ladies and gentlemen, join the stream. Despite Lonzo doing the German dance club, join the stream. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, or go to YouTube, search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show YouTube
Appointment
channel.
viewing. Don't listen to him. It was amazing. You just, meme it, gif it, loop it.
GIF.
You're welcome.
GIF.
Whatever.
It's GIF.
Yeah. Watch out for GIF. A bunch of that has been recalled because, especially in the state of South Carolina, look it up.
You mean GIF with a J?
Yeah, I'm talking about the peanut butter. Yeah.
Not GIF with a hard G, like the computer file.
I heard that argument that you and Diesel had, and Diesel was right.
No.
So, yeah, because the guy who wrote the thing said it was called that.
If I draw a picture of the Eiffel Tower and I go, hey guys, look, it's the Empire State Building, just because I drew it doesn't make it right. I can call it the Empire State Building. It's not. It's still the Eiffel Tower.
If you created those things, you could call them whatever you wanted.
That's not.
If you were the creator.
No.
Yes.
No.
It's okay to be wrong. It's all right.
What is
a lot of people are wrong all the time.
What does the G in GIF stand for?
I believe Diesel's argument was a good one. What does the G stand for in?
Right. He said giraffe, right? Like
Yeah.
with the soft J, which is fine. If I went and
By the way, what's my first name?
fine. If I went and built a containment protocol to keep the Hulk that is Gerald in a cage. And I called it the Gerald observation platform.
By the
right?
way, I just want to point out I've been called Gerald before.
Yeah, I
because-
need you to know I almost called you
Yeah,
that a second ago.
yeah.
But I'll make
It's-
my argument.
All right,
If
all
I
right.
built,
But Gerald doesn't need containment. He's a nerdy guy who sits in the corner and dreams.
if okay, so people come and look through the window of the Fortress of Nerditude to see the greatness emanating from Lonzo over there, whose first name is Gerald. If I wanted to call the window in the glass the Gerald observation platform, right? The G that I use in that acronym is the G for Gerald Soft, so I would call it the JOP, right? It's the JOP, the GOP, the JOP, and that would make sense. But the G in graphic is a hard G, ergo GIF.
You know,
Why am I having this observation again? Why are we having this
here's
again?
the
I'm right.
problem. When you've been wrong for years and you still, I appreciate your tenacity. It doesn't make you any more
And
right.
being right?
It doesn't make you right. There are times they're back and forth. Sometimes I win. Sometimes you win. More than not, you win. But this time you're not winning, and you've lost on many different occasions to multiple people on this, and that's fine. But seeing as how I don't use those anyway, what do I care?
GIF. So Ray Liotta passed away yesterday, and my Twitter just became a hodgepodge of Ray Liotta scenes. I will be honest, at the risk of being insensitive, I wasn't a big Ray Liotta fan. And maybe it was because the majority of what I saw out of Ray Liotta was later in life. But I wasn't a big Ray Liotta guy. But dude did have some. Have you ever seen Smokin' Aces, Lonzo?
No.
I have never seen Smokin' Aces. Apparently, Smokin' Aces had Ray Liotta in it, and from what I understand, like somebody put up a scene of Ray Liotta getting into a gunfight with an assassin inside of an elevator, and it was the most gory, violent thing I've ever seen in a movie. And now I want to watch Smokin' Aces with Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta's best stuff was his violent gangster stuff, right? It was Goodfellas.
And I've never
For as long
I've
as-
never seen Goodfellas. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but
dare you.
yeah, once you see The Godfather, why do you need to see another gangster
Because
movie?
it's an entirely different world. It's an entirely different world as Goodfellas.
There are some movies that come out when children are younger that you just have to completely avoid. And so
your
you
children
don't
aren't younger.
so you
anymore.
don't ever see them, and then you decide, do I want to go back and see that?
Yes.
Not when there's this new thing that I want to see.
Yes, you do. De Niro, Liotta, Pesci, Sorvino.
I'm going
all
through.
the great mobster, all the great gangster actors are in this movie.
By the way,
for a
Pesci,
reason.
Pesci fan, Sorvino fan. I'm going through his IMDb right now,
America's a Pesci fan.
and I'm trying to see if there's anything I've actually seen. And I'm struggling. I mean,
Wanted to be a gangster for as long as I can remember.
see,
Best opening line to a mobster movie ever.
yeah, but Animaniacs did it better. So I mean,
Ray Liotta. All right, let me do this. R.I.P. Ray Liotta. Thank you for a catalog of great gangster movies. He played in a movie, Lonzo, that I'm going to bet.
wait a minute. He was in The Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege
I
Tale.
was about
I saw
to
that.
bring that up.
I did see that, but I don't remember his character in it. It's been a long
He
time.
was the wizard.
Okay.
He's a wizard.
So the thing about that movie is you really try to block that out as much as you can.
That is
Burt Reynolds, Matthew Lillard. I mean,
Ron Perlman, Jason Statham,
yeah.
Claire Forlani. Like, it was. I went and saw that movie. I don't mean to. Every time this movie comes up,
It's one of those where, how much you paying me? All
I
right,
have to-
I'll do it.
I have to talk about this. All right, I have to. And by the way,
But
this
I
movie,
loved the game. The game was awesome. That's why I went to see it.
this movie For those of you that have not seen In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale, which came out in 2007. I went and saw this movie with one of my best friends in the world, now the bassist in my rock band, Tommy. We went and saw this movie together because, Lonzo, we thought, all right.
All right, he was in Field of Dreams also, so
Yes,
I have
he was
seen
in Field
him.
of Dreams.
Okay,
He was
all right.
Shoeless Joe Jackson, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly, in Field of Dreams.
Or was he his dad? I can't
Maybe
remember.
it was his dad.
Yeah.
No, I think he was. I think he played Joe. I don't.
No,
remember.
he did. It was Shoeless Joe.
Yeah, that's
see
what I
it.
thought. See, you confused me. In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale, which came out in 2007. I went and saw that movie in theaters because I thought, A, comes from a video game. I haven't played it, but I'm sure it's got to be good. B, I will watch anything that has Jason Statham punching and kicking people. Like, he's Jason Statham. C, big Burt Reynolds guy. All right? Big Burt Reynolds guy. Love Burt. Everybody loved Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds was the best. Big Burt Reynolds guy. So I'm like, so I get Statham punching. I get Burt Reynolds being Burt Reynolds. I get Ray Liotta. And by the way, I think this movie started my dislike of the acting of Ray Liotta. And I think I have to apologize to Ray Liotta because now this is like therapy for me. I'm playing this back in my head. And I saw that movie. And Ray Liotta was so bad in that movie, right? He was so bad as the wizard in that movie. Is the worst acting I've ever seen. But now that I am, what is that, 15 years later? 15 years later, now that I'm 37 instead of 22 watching this movie, 15 years later, as I watch this play out, I think I have to come to the realization that maybe it wasn't Ray Liotta's fault. Maybe this movie was just so insanely bad that even Burt Reynolds, Jason Statham, and Ray Liotta just got stuck with the most boat role in the entire movie.
All right, I just had another thought, and I can't believe I haven't thought of this before. I think this was a dare. I think they all got on the movie set and said, let's see how bad
we can make it.
Let's see how bad we can be.
Yeah.
And see if people will still go see it. Because we got our money. Let's see how bad we can be.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. Like, it went from, so there's like good movies, there's like great movies, then there's good movies, then there's okay movies. And those three movies, an okay movie, it finishes and you're like, all right, fine. I don't feel like I got robbed.
But there are also movies that are so bad they become cult classics because of how bad they are. This one's just bad.
There's great movies, there's good movies, there's okay movies. Those three movies you see and you're like, okay, cool. Then there's bad movies that you still sit through it because you're like, well, I paid my $17. I might as well enjoy the end of it even if it sucks. That there's movies that are so bad that you walk out of. And I've done that probably 3 times in my life. Like 3 times has a movie been so bad that I got up and walked out, right? Then there's movies that are so bad that you stay in them just to see how bad they're going to get. That was this movie.
But I've seen worse.
Jason,
that's the sad part.
You've seen worse than this?
Yes.
Stop watching whatever you're watching.
A movie called The Delivery Boys. It will always stick in my head because it was the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's fine. This is it for me. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. It was a movie that was so poorly put together and so poorly acted out that Jason Statham punching, Burt Reynolds being the king of the kingdom, and Ray Liotta being a mobster wizard, still a terrible movie. And I think now that it may be too late, and I apologize, but I think I need to apologize to Ray Liotta because all of my anti-Ray Liotta-ness came from this movie. Because I blame this movie being as bad as it was for many years on Ray Liotta. But now that I've thought about it, now that I've got some years of perspective, some hindsight behind me, I think I've got to say, Ray Liotta was handed a boat script and a boat movie and asked to be the bad guy, the most important person in the movie, the bad guy that Jason Statham is ultimately going to punch out of existence, right? And even Ray Liotta couldn't save this movie from how bad it was. And I've blamed Ray Liotta the entire time. Since 2007, I blamed Ray Liotta and held a grudge against Ray Liotta for In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege Tale. And I would like to go on the record now and officially apologize, now that he's dead, to Ray Liotta for holding a grudge against him. I did not go, yeah, he did this movie, but also he did Goodfellas, which is amazing. Maybe I should let him off the hook. I didn't do that. I held this movie over Goodfellas, and it's not Ray Liotta's fault. It was just a boat movie, and I apologize officially on the record to Ray Liotta and to the Liotta estate.
By the way, you can watch it on Prime if you
I might go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
I genuinely might. This weekend, coming up on Monday, we're off. I might very well pour myself a very stiff drink because that's the only way I'm going to get through this again. But as an apology to Ray Liotta, I might very well pour myself at home a very stiff drink, watch In the Name of the King, a Dungeon Siege tale, live tweet it as my apology to Ray Liotta for holding a grudge against him since 2007 because of this garbage movie. I apologize, Ray. It actually said Ray Liotta was awesome in No Escape. I don't think I saw No Escape. I'll find it. Tell me where it's streaming. I'll watch it. I feel like I need to go watch some Ray Liotta movies to make up for it. Ray Liotta, let's see. Okay, so there was a No Escape in 94, and then they remade it in 2015 with Owen Wilson. You remade a Ray Liotta movie with Owen Wilson. Wow.
Come on, he was great in Loki. You know it.
Wow. Back after this to wrap up hour 1 on the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. I got sports coming, I promise. What a dumb segment that was. What an absolute dumb segment that was.
It's Friday, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dumb segment.
Yeah, Keegan, we talked about that
yesterday
on Twitter. And I made sure that Rob saw the picture. I still haven't looked up Piglet yet. I forgot. I got to look up Piglet. The game was a computer game along the lines, and there were 3 of them. I actually have them at home on one of my computers. They had a sale on Steam for like $1 or something, but I paid full price when they came out, like $50 or something. But the first one, it was you weren't farm. Well, yeah, I think you were farmer actually, and you start finding all this stuff about yourself, but you could actually wear a bucket as a helmet. There was just so many things that you could use as weapons, and it was pretty cool. It was before. I mean, it was very D&D like before. Sure. There were other games out there like that. It was one of the first.
I have to come clean, Lonzo. I'm addicted to the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Yeah, I saw you were playing it last night.
I'm addicted to it.
Like I said, Cameron told me it was really, really good.
I like it. Yeah. And it's significantly longer than I thought it was going to be. Like, you keep hitting points where it feels like you're about to end the game, and they're like, nope, not even close. And I realized that last night because we got to a point that felt like it was going to be a natural stopping point. And then they're like, would you like to level up your player again because it's about to get real? I was like, wait, what?
Okay. Sounds like you're zooming through it.
It's amazing. I will tell you there have been, and I'm going to shame myself as a gamer. I had to lower the difficulty down because you get into these fights where they put you into a big open arena and they have snipers that just blow you away. And the premise of it is Quill calls out to the Guardians to do stuff like he's leading the team. And so you can be like, hey, that sniper up there, Gamora, go get him, and she'll go get him. But then you have to wait a certain amount of time for her to still let that ability cool down, but for her to regather herself to do another one. And there's nowhere to hide from these snipers who just blow you up. So I had to drop the difficulty down to get by it, which is shameful. My Xbox said Rob Brown was currently looking for clues, and I was so confused. Well, people have been telling me my whole life to get a clue, so it makes sense. I have not played the Telltale games yet, but I've heard nothing but good about them.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about them too, but to me, it seems more like those choose your adventure books.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have control.
Lonzo wants to punch people a lot.
Yeah, I actually want to be doing the punching. That's what it is. I want to electrify my back gauntlets and let sparks fly.
I don't mind a good puzzle detective game.
Well, me either, as long as there's some other stuff involved. I mean, one of the cool parts about the other Batman, the Arkham series, is trying to figure out all of the Riddler's clues and stuff like that. And him accusing you the whole time. You're looking this up on the internet, aren't you?
Which only hurts when you are. How long do you stumble with something in a game before you go look up the answer?
Depends on the game.
Yeah.
On Elden Ring, straight away, I told you straight away, I'm looking for,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter. You can tell me how to do it. It still doesn't mean I can do it because that game is pretty hard. Although I'm seeing a lot of people have beat it so many times. That just makes me so mad.
Not me.
And I can't blame it on my age. It's hard. But I've learned to not play it late at night because I get so frustrated that I can't go to sleep.
There's a frustration point for me in games that I hit it and that it's not enjoyable anymore. I've wasted my time. And there's no like even beating it, the sense of accomplishment does not outweigh the frustration of getting killed over and over and over.
I'm back to where I was before, almost to where I was before on Elden Ring, my first playthrough, and the thing I couldn't get past, I'm almost there. So now I'm just doing a bunch of other side dungeons and everything before I give it a shot because I'm worried that I'm going to get stuck there again. And I don't want help. I want to do it on my own. Although I told Cameron if Tayshawn's right and you can play the whole thing that way, we're going to do it as the guys you start out who have no clothes on, just the entire time.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's Friday, baby. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Tell you what living the dream means. This is one of those Friday stories. Lonzo, you ever asked anybody, me? You ever asked anybody how they're doing, and the response is living the dream? Living the dream.
Yeah, with that kind of enthusiasm, it just seems like, man, I want some of that.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you that in 2022, if somebody says, I'm living the dream, they're not, all right? We're just all trying to get this through this thing together, all right? We're just all trying to get through this thing together. And if you go, how you doing, bro? And they go, living the dream, they're not. They're just not going to go, oh, no. The world's on fire and I'm barely keeping it together. Thanks for asking, because that's a bummer of a conversation starter.
Well, we don't know what someone else's dream is. They could actually be living the dream.
If your dream is stumbling through a dystopian nightmare, yeah, some of us are living the dream.
Oh, this is not a dystopian nightmare. There have been some of those, and there could be in the future.
True.
All things considered, it could be a whole lot worse.
Listen, I don't need your optimism today, man. All right? I
Dude,
don't need
it is Friday.
Listen.
The sun is out there just for a brief moment to let us know that it's still there. 3-day weekend coming up. You've got a nationally syndicated baseball show.
I do.
No one else here has a nationally syndicated show. They can be on here and there, but you're everywhere. I mean, what's there not to be?
True story. Fair enough.
You've got a show with your name on it. There's a banner back there.
There is.
With your it doesn't matter that you paid for it. It's still back there and it's got your name on it.
Can I tell you what I was doing here, Lonzo?
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry for being positive.
No, listen, I appreciate the pep talk. I genuinely feel better. I didn't feel bad to start this segment, and I feel better. I didn't feel bad to start it, and I feel great now because you're right. I was setting this story up with sometimes life's hard to get through because I had this really awesome story about this guy that I wanted to share. Mark Radetic, Radetic, Radetic. We're going to go Radetic. Mark Radetic is a Missouri man. Mark Radetic is a Missouri man who just enjoys the simpler things in life, Lonzo, like watching golf and drinking beer, right? Mark Radetic was at the PGA Championship last weekend, and Mark Radetic was following around a young man you might know who goes by the name of Tiger Bleeping Woods. Well, Tiger Bleeping Woods was setting up to take a shot out of the rough, and Mark Radetic and a host of about 100 other people were behind Tiger. Now, for most people in 2022, if you're about to get a front row seat of Tiger Woods hitting a ball out of the rough, Lonzo, most people's thought in 2022 is to what? Pull out the phone and film it, right? Pull out the phone and record it so that you have that image of Eldrick hitting out of the woods. Let me share with you instead what Mark Radetic did here, Lonzo. Mark Radetic decided instead of pulling out his phone like every other person in this spectacular picture that was taken. Mark Radetic is there in the front row behind Tiger, doing what, Lonzo? Enjoying a beer and soaking in the moment. Just soaking in the moment, man. There's two dozen other people in this picture, all who have every one of them has their camera out, holding it up in the air, filming Tiger, taking pictures of Tiger. Mark Radetic is standing behind Tiger, his arms clasped around a Mick Ultra in front of him, watching Tiger Woods' golf ball fly towards the green. Spectacular image. Well, Mark Radetic is now living the dream because Mark Radetic got picked up after his picture, the only man in the picture without a cell phone, just enjoying living in the moment, watching Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer of all time, hit this shot. Mark Radetic has been picked up and given a golf apparel sponsorship line by Michelob Ultra. Mark Radetic now has Michelob Ultra cans with his image being sold in them as a sponsor. Mark Radetic is now officially sponsored by Mick Ultra. Radetic said that Mick Ultra has promised him beer, a quote, copious amount of beer and merchandise, and the potential to go to other PGA events and represent Michelob Ultra. How about my guy? Got an apparel sponsorship, got a beer sponsorship, and all he did, Lonzo, was keep the phone in the pocket and live in the moment of history that he was standing next to. Good on Mark Radetic. My guy is officially living the dream. 2 hours left. We hit him hard when we come back on the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate.
Now, how many people are going to go to events and just stand there with their drink of choice, hoping that they get picked up by a sponsor?
You know, one thing I've never thought before, and I know that, you ever seen like a canning operation, like a soda or beer canning operation? The way they work is the cans are all silver, and then they have a label machine that just wraps them around the cans, and then it heat seals on, right? I've never understood why it is that if you were in charge of a canning operation, why would you not find a way to sync the cans and the label up so that the label sticks out when people are drinking, right? Like I'm drinking this Monster. I got to drink it this way, and I got the nutritional label facing out, right? Wouldn't you if I was drinking a Monster, especially like right now, right? Like how much advertising are they missing for free because they have the label turned in? Like I'd be flashing the Monster label for 2 hours on this show.
That's
you
a
put it
really
on the
good
side.
point, by the way. Because then people are walking by, or in this case, looking on the stream going, hey, what's he drinking?
Yeah.
I would like to also be like Rob Brown.
Yeah. When I go on remotes, right? When I go on remotes, we sit in front of bars full of people, and I still bring one of these. I'd sit in front of a bar full of people who, by the way, are ingrained in their head. If you go to bars, it's ingrained in your head to get what? Vodka Red Bull. Whatever, whiskey and Red Bull, whatever you're drinking in Red Bull. But if I sat up there in front of a bar full of people and I could drink like this with the logo out, I'm flashing your logo to a bar full of, like, it just makes sense. Oh, no. Yes, it did go in stream. Thank you for asking.
Okay, there's 511 gigs free. How are you saying there's not going to be enough room to save this file? That's stupid. Yes, I'm talking to the computer.
You know what I do like about my job? And since it's Optimism Friday here, I had a guy texted the show earlier and said, "Sounds like Rob needs a beer and a hug." At the start of that segment, needs a beer and a hug. And I really really am having a good day. I was just trying to set it up to make that a feel good story. And I texted him back, and I'm like, yeah, but beer before the hug. That's my preferred order of operations. And he just wrote back, and the guy's like super stoked about the opportunity to meet for a beer. Like this dude is like, I've made his day just by saying I'd get a beer with a guy. Like that's awesome. You know what's also awesome? This commercial. It's all over. That's fantastic work.
I was listening to you, but at the same time,
that was the correct.
I'm smiling
Between
at
me and that commercial, you listened to that commercial 99 out of 99 times. What the hell am I doing here?
Prism in the first break.
Texter said, "It ain't nothing but a G thing, baby," and typed out "bay."
Phonetics are awesome.
Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Cause I'm a creep. God, I hate karaoke. Steven said the wife texted and wants to play Call of Duty tonight. Hashtag she a keeper. No, I agree, Steven. See, Courtney will play video games with me, but she wants to break out the old Nintendo. Like, she wants to play Paperboy and Super Mario Brothers. And I'm like, cool. Absolutely fine. Of course.
Still games.
Yeah. Made it to Friday and tied it up with Zoe at the end. Next mistake loses. Unreal. Unreal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, my friends? I am Rob. He is Lonzo. You are you. Be a part of the program. 844-FAN phone. 844-FANFONE. 844-326-3663. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN so we can read them on the air. FAN, F-A-N. Lonzo, yesterday, right after we got off the air, I got the best email that I've gotten in a long time. I get about an email, maybe 2 a week, from people who have different criticisms or critiques or feedback. Sometimes positive, sometimes very negative. One guy wrote in yesterday, I'm assuming guy. One guy wrote in yesterday, did not sign his email, but called me, Lonzo. He said, and I'm trying to paraphrase because I did not bring it in here. And I'm not signed into my work account because I'm lazy. But he wrote in and he said, Rob, you're like a monster truck announcer gone rogue. Which is the best. I don't know if he meant it as a compliment or not. But he said, you're like a monster truck announcer gone rogue. Because you know that guy, hey, Friday, like, monster truck announcer. Like, never stops yelling. Everything's crazy exciting, right? He's like, by getting a radio show, you're like a monster truck announcer gone rogue. And I don't know if he meant it as an insult or a compliment, Lonzo, but I know how I took it.
Absolutely a compliment, without a doubt.
It was amazing. A monster truck announcer gone rogue. It's beautiful.
Just don't take Rob along on stealth mission.
Oh, no. Anywhere you need quiet, do not invite me, all right? I think I said this. So last Friday, I called the first home match for the Greenville Liberty, right? The women's professional soccer team. I'm a big fan of spreading the love of the game of soccer in the upstate and a huge fan of spreading the love for women's sports in the upstate. So the Triumph guys asked me if I would call the first home match for the Liberty. And I was like, hell yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? It'd be an honor, right? Their first home match. I'd love to be that. So I did it. Next day I'm playing golf with a couple of guys. And one of them says, our buddy Joe, friend of the show, Joey B. Joey B says, Rob, the wife and I watched back the replay of the game last night, the Liberty game. And I said, dope, what'd you think? And he said, I thought you did great. The wife said, I think maybe we could mute it every now and then. That's a lot. In fairness, Joey B did not, I don't think, tell her that it was me, but I could be incorrect, right? I don't think he told her that it was me. He just wanted honest feedback, and she was like, he's a lot. Correct. Correct, I am. But I want you guys to come in here and get your morning started off with some juice, right? With some gas. It's full send from 9 to noon because I know that not like 9 to noon, if you are like a normal person, Lonzo, 9 to noon is when you're hitting the most of the grind for the day, right? Like you're getting into work, you got the first hour to get warmed up, organize, get yourself ready for the day, get your task, your goals lined up. Then from 9 to noon, you bust. You go ham at 9 a.m. until you get to lunchtime. Lunchtime, you take a little break. Back half, you've had lunch. It's like, all right, I'm going to get stuff done. But you're not like pushing like you are from 9 to noon. What I want is I want to give you that stamina. I want to give you that gas. I want to give you that audio energy drink to keep going until you get to your lunch break. You know, we used to carry you through the lunch break. Now my goal is to get you that gas to get there. So it's full send. It's all accelerator, no break, till we hit noon. And then I go take a nap because I'm giving you everything I got.
We got to get those T-shirts made.
Going ham at 9 a.m.
I need one.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. By the way, Kevin, where the hell you been, man? Kevin shows up on the phone line.
He's working.
Kevin shows up on the phone line, gives us a new catchphrase for free, and then goes MIA on us. Kevin, where'd you go, fella?
He's been back on a couple of times since then, by the way.
He has,
Yeah.
but it's been a minute. Going ham at 9 a.m. I love it. I'm flipping through Twitter just a minute ago, as I am wont to do, and I saw a tweet that came from the Spurs Up show, which I know Chris, I think Chris is his name, is the host of that event, of that show. I want to say it came from him, and I'm going to try to verify and double check. I think it came from him. Anyway, I believe it's Chris who runs it, and I know he is on with Mark Ryan in the afternoons, 3 to 7. All Sides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. Make sure you stay in tune for that outstanding show as well. Anyway, he put up a tweet. I believe it was him, and if it's not, I'll go fix it. But he put up a tweet that said, #fire Mark Kingston. Right? Yep, there it is. He said, #fire Mark Kingston. And then he reported shortly after that. And again, from what I understand, he's a relatively reputable Gamecock guy, right? Like this dude, there's no question this dude loves the school. And we'll get Corey Diaz on here. In fact, let me see if I can get Corey next hour. We'll see if maybe we can snag a random Corey Diaz interview. But anyway, he is reporting that Mark Kingston had end-of-the-year meetings with Gamecocks baseball players, and that, quote, we're seeing a mass exodus of guys who weren't major contributors hit the portal. Translation, I'd be shocked if Kingston isn't back next season as the head coach. You guys good with that? I told you yesterday, I watched the game between Florida and South Carolina to open up the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover, Alabama. Florida's not a bad baseball team, but they're not what Florida was a number of years ago. South Carolina's not a bad baseball team, but they should have been so much better. And they just weren't. I dropped my pen, Lonzo. They just weren't.
Yeah, I was hoping it would stay down there, but
You know me.
No such luck.
You know me. I also believe that game against Florida was lost by coaching decisions. Now, it is not Mark Kingston coaching third base that sent the slowest guy on the team home in a foot race against a cannon-armed left fielder who basically already had the ball in glove and got the go-ahead run tossed out by a good 3.5 feet. But your base coaches are part of the coaching staff, part of the coaching organization, right? They are part of the coaching organization. I don't know what to tell you. South Carolina's offense was not good this year. They were fine defensively. Just could not produce runs, right? And it did not change throughout the year. It's not like they got, again, you can go and look and go, okay, they're getting progressively better as the year goes on. But there's a against Southeastern Conference tournament play, against Southeastern Conference play, there's a lot of 2s and 3s and 4s on the board, right? You go back to March, you get swept by Clemson. And by the way, in a down year for Clemson. Now, granted, Clemson was in the top 25 at that point. But it's a down year for them as well, right? They got punked by Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament. Well, they lose by like a lot. It's a down year for Clemson as well. But you got swept by them. 18-6 Virginia Tech. 18-6 Virginia Tech down Clemson. Now, granted, Virginia Tech's the number 2 team in the country. Like, they are not a threat at Omaha. They are a favorite in Omaha. It's just a bad draw for Clemson. But a down year for the Tigers. You got swept by them. Then I go back and I look at opportunities. By the way, it's not like this team couldn't do it. They took 2 out of 3 from Texas in early March. But as the rest of college baseball got better, as the rest of the Southeastern Conference got better throughout the year, South Carolina was losing to the Citadel 4-3. South Carolina was getting blank shut out by Vanderbilt at one point. South Carolina was losing, to Mizzou. The offense was meh at best. It was mediocre offensively. Again, defensively, I think they were fine. But the ball just didn't get put into play. And that's too bad, because this team, I certainly think, had the talent to at least make a regional, right? I don't know if they had Omaha talent. I don't know if they had deep run talent. I don't know if they had super regional talent. They had regional talent. This just felt like an absolute letdown of a year. And my question for Gamecock baseball fans is, A, are you out there, right? Are you out there? Are you following this team? I'm going to go ahead and say this at the risk of sounding like I'm riding the Hot Take Express, which I promise I'm not trying to. But at the risk of riding the Hot Take Express, South Carolina gets accused very frequently of the Clemson people and the rest of the Southeastern Conference of being a women's basketball school. Oh, the fans don't care about anything but women's basketball. Well, I know that's not true about football, because I've been in your stadium twice, and both times it was absolutely raucous, right? I went last year for the upset against Florida. I went last year for the Palmetto Bowl. Both times, Willie B was shaking. I know you're going to show up and show out. I know that baseball has a really good foundation in South Carolina, but I haven't really seen a bunch of people talking about it. Are you not talking about it because it's just kind of eh? Or are you not talking about it because the expectations aren't being met? And why are you going to invest in something in which the expectations aren't being met? And that's kind of what it feels like to me. I promise you, I'm not the dude that rolls up. I'm not the dude that goes, oh, coach's fault, fire the coach, every time things go wrong. But when a team does not get better from start of season to end of season, that's on coaching, right? It's on one of two things. It's either on coaching or it's on kids not trying or professional athletes not trying, right? I know that there have been a lot of good coaches that have been fired because the team doesn't get better, and it's because the team didn't want to get better under that coach. It happens, but that's a professional athlete problem. If you're a college baseball team, I've been around a lot of college baseball teams, a lot of good college baseball teams. I have covered Florida State when they were an Omaha threat under Mike Martin. I have covered Florida when they were an Omaha threat. I have covered LSU when they went for years consecutively to Omaha. I have covered D2 baseball. The University of West Florida used to call play-by-play for them when they were making D2 runs at championships. College baseball players are a group of people who do not give up. By the way, a lot of guys on a college baseball roster, they're not on scholarship, or at best they're on a partial scholarship, right? Baseball's got a very limited number of scholarships, so they will split them up between players. You get 50% and you get 25 and you get 25. And a lot of these guys are paying their own way, or at least a chunk of it, to be able to play college baseball, right? If your team's not getting better week by week, that's on coaching. It's either coaching in that you put a bad team together and you're recruiting and development, or it's coaching in that you've recruited a good team, but you don't know how to coach them to get better baseball out of them. And that's what it felt like for South Carolina. It felt like they kept getting close, and then they could not turn a corner. Couldn't turn a corner. Let's take a break. Got some more thoughts I want to get into. Miami, Boston. Who you got? I said Boston in 6. They're lined up for it. Warriors finish off the Mavs. We're going to break that down last night. The Carolina Hurricanes hold home ice. 12 consecutive home playoff wins for the Canes. Now they try to down the Rangers on the road in Madison Square. Can they get that done? We're going to talk about that and plenty more. It's Friday, baby! We're having some fun. Rob Lonzo, you, the fan upstate.
Where's my... My stuff is not during the day; it's at night.
Yeah. Mine is if I'm out in public. If I'm out and there's food, I'm going crazy.
Everyone keeps looking to me to ask me what I think how our granddaughter will react in certain situations, like including medieval times. We went to the pirate show that they have there, and she loved it.
Yeah.
But WWE scared her to death. But remember how close to the pyro
so
we were
loud,
sitting?
though,
We
bro.
were right next to the
Yeah.
pyro.
It scared Courtney out of her
Yeah.
mind a number of times. That is one time that it was an advantage to be a wrestling fan because I know when the pyros are
Yeah.
gonna pop. I'm gonna ask you guys another. I'm just full of questions today, man. I'm just full of questions today. Let me ask you guys another question. Yesterday, and my phone is my lifeline for this job, right? Without my phone, I can't do this job. I mean, I can, but I wouldn't be nearly as good at it. For a variety of reasons. It keeps me in touch with people around the upstate who have news and updates for me. It helps me set up interviews. But also,
You kids today in your phone, back in my day, they used newspapers for show prep.
dude, I found a picture. I'll bring it in tomorrow, Alonzo. I found a picture
No, you
of
won't.
me. No, I won't. I'll bring it in Tuesday, Alonzo. I found a picture of me doing one of my very first shows on like an actual film picture, you know?
Like
Yeah,
a
I used to-
Polaroid or
yeah,
something?
No,
Okay.
I mean it's like
It's not an instant.
not
It
like
was
a
okay. Yeah.
like a picture. Like you'd go get your film developed picture, right?
By some creepy dude at the photomat.
Yeah. Who like takes your film canister and disappears backwards into a black room, never breaking eye contact.
And actually worked at every single photomat,
Every one of
which
them.
is weird. I don't know if they were related or not.
Anyway,
Maybe.
found a picture of me. Found a picture of me doing one of my first shows when I was just a wee lad, and lots of the computer that I was using to do my show, and like using America Online as my prep material. Now I'm like, how the hell did I get through that? How did I get through that, man? Anyway, here's a question I have for you guys. I'm sitting yesterday evening. I got home from work. And the lady friend and I have a slammed up weekend this weekend, right? I've got my nationally syndicated sports talk radio show tomorrow, Bet for the Psycho, alongside former MLB player Cody Decker.
Which looks like a lot of fun.
It's a blast. It's a blast. So we do Bet for the Psycho tomorrow from 1 to 5 on the BetQL Network. You can hear that on WTPT HD3 right here in Greenville, or get the BetQL or Odyssey apps, and you can listen there. Win you guys some money betting baseball on a Saturday. Any hoodles. I got that from 1 to 5. Then we gotta go out to her. It is her dad and step mom's. How was that word so hard for me? Her and her dad and stepmom's birthday this week. So we got a birthday cookout Saturday. It's gonna go into the night. Then on Sunday, we are driving up to Charlotte for the NASCAR race. Right? Me, her brother, and sister-in-law, and then a couple of my buddies from the soccer group are driving up to Charlotte for the NASCAR race. We will not get back home until, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning. So basically Monday's my next day off. So the lady friend and I decided last night, you know what, let's stay low key. Let's just stay at the house. I said, you know what, I'll go ahead and do all my show prep for tonight. I'll go ahead and do all my show prep for tonight. And that way, you know, I'll sleep in a little extra tomorrow, go in. I just got to do cleanup. Don't finish up work. I'm already done, whatever. Sitting on the couch, doing show prep. And my phone dings. Ding. And now I don't remember which one it was because I'm subscribed to we used to call them RSS feeds. I don't know if they're still that anymore. Now they're just like text alert notification systems, whatever. But I'm subscribed to like
Beepers.
90. Yeah, like 90. By the end of this, if I don't clear my notifications, by the end of this show, I have about 112 notifications on my phone about articles and blogs and columns and sports news and information. Like literally, as I'm talking about it, Lonzo, I get one from the Dirt Sheets that says that William Regal told me he was planning to sign Daniel Garcia, Ricky Starks, and Wheeler Yuta to NXT before WWE changed direction. Right? So I just get constant notifications about every sport and version of entertainment that I subscribe to. And I got one yesterday evening. And it kind of like it hit me for a second because I really did. I genuinely had a directional crisis, right? I got an alert that there was a blog that had gone up. And I have since accidentally removed it from my phone because I wanted to read it for you guys, the title, word for word. But Lonzo, basically, it was yet another post asking the question, can DJ Uiagalelei lose his job this year? Now,
what a recycled question. I mean, what kind of show or anything would just ask the same question over and over again, day after day after day?
So I got that notification, and my reaction was not quite as violent as Lonzo's, but still in the same direction.
I was smiling. I don't know. I guess you can smile and be violent.
That was the Joker's whole thing, man.
I sit corrected.
I got this notification, and I said to myself, is this still a topic with gas in the tank? Right? Is this still a topic with gas in the tank? Now, the reason I asked that is very selfish, right? I, as a radio host, I need to know what it is that you guys want to talk about. I need to know what it is you guys want on the table. Now, I will also acknowledge that there are going to be times when I am going to come to the table with things that I want to talk about, knowing that it may not resonate with the majority of people. Forget everybody. It may not resonate with the majority of people, but it would be absolutely silly for me to not hit on topics that you guys as listeners and fans of the fan, and hopefully fans of the Rob Brown Show, want included in the conversation. That's why listen, Lonzo and I could easily do 3 hours of NBA talk on just the playoffs, right? I could easily do 3 hours of Warriors, Mavs, Heat, Celtics. I could easily do 3 hours of NBA Finals once Boston finishes off Miami. I could easily do 3 hours of NBA Finals every day for the duration of the finals. No problem. Easily. As a matter of fact, I've got a call coming up on Tuesday because Odyssey is launching another line of podcasts, the 2400 Sports Podcast, and your boy will be hosting either the Panthers, Saints, or Buccaneers podcasts. I don't know which one yet. Probably either. I don't know how the Buccaneers got thrown in there, but they did.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other.
Well, it's all NFC South teams, right?
I get you. Yeah. I get it.
They not NFC South guys doing NFC South pods.
You're going to do an awesome job no matter which one.
Sure.
But that one I won't listen to.
The reason that I bring it up is not to brag. Okay, it's to brag a little bit. That I'm adding yet another weapon to the arsenal.
This is not bragging. This is celebration. Yeah. This is recognition that the company we work for is recognizing what a great talent you are, and they're trying to put you on as many places as they can. And I'm sure this will also probably be nationally syndicated.
I mean, I think this is going to be podcasted, so technically, yes, it's going out nationally. Yeah. But I'll be covering either the Panthers, the Saints, or maybe the Bucks on the 2400 Sports Network for Odyssey. The reason I bring that up is to tell you that is going to be a 1 hour, 2 or 3 times a week podcast about whichever team that I get asked to do. I got no problem doing that. I could do a 3 hour Panthers only show every day. I could do a 3-hour Clemson only everyday show, a 3-hour Carolina only show every day, a 3-hour Carolina Hurricanes. I'm good at this job.
The Clemson thing's already taken care of, though.
Sure it is. They got a 24-hour-a-day station for that. And for the record, with that in mind, with that knowledge in front of you, my question is could DJ Uiagalelei lose his job at a point where nothing's happening in college football, right? Is that now Jimbo v. Nick Saban? That's a huge story, right? That's a story worth following. Lane Kiffin doing that interview we talked about yesterday with Sports Illustrated. That's a big story. That's a foundational story to college football. If another guy hits the transfer portal for either of our two biggest schools or our other smaller schools in the market, that's a big deal. We got to run with that. But
here's the thing. The DJ thing is just pandering to a fickle fan base that wants to turn on a kid because he's not Deshaun and he's not Trevor. That's all this is. So they're going to keep it in the news because they want the next Deshaun. They want the next Trevor. They believe they deserve it. They believe that it should happen for them because they're the greatest team of all time. And that's not how football works.
So I guess that's kind of my question is, and I could go look up YouTube videos and see what the views look like. I could go see what Google Analytics is popping up when you search stuff. But is that what you're looking for? Is that what you're looking for? Like, is that, and I'm asking, it's a genuine question. If you want to answer me on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307, start your text with fans so I can read them on the air. If you want to answer me that, yes, I would rather talk DJ Uiagalelei's stability as a starting quarterback for Clemson over the NBA playoffs, I'm good to hear that. I need to know. If you would rather hear again, can DJ Uiagalelei be the starter? Lonzo and I feel like Lonzo and I, as have every other radio show in the upstate, have beaten that dead horse within, 10 feet underground at this point. But if that's the conversation you guys want over why are the Braves the most inconsistent team in baseball? Are they baseball's biggest disappointment? The answer is no. They're baseball's third biggest disappointment. Tell you why later in the show. But if you would prefer another round of can DJ keep his job over Cade again, I genuinely want to know. But it kind of blew my mind yesterday that here we are in May. Nothing's happening in the world of college football that doesn't involve coaches yelling at each other via fake press conferences. And I see another one go up. And for the record, I got no problem with recruiting deep dives, right? Dabo Swinney's targeting this kid. Shane Beamer had a conversation with this guy's parents. Because that's active. That's new. That's updating. New stuff is good. I'm all about new. I'm all about what's happening right now. You guys have asked, why do you talk so much? Why do you analyze games? Why do you spend so much time on numbers? Because that's happening now. That's real. That's real in sports. It's not a hypothetical. It's not something I'm making up to rile people up. That's what's happening in sports. Mavericks Warriors just happened. I'm going to talk about it today. And tonight, Miami Boston happens. And while I'm not going to talk about it on the air tomorrow, I will be tweeting about it. I may put up some stuff on social media, right? Because that's what's happening. Hurricanes Rangers happened last night. I'm going to talk about it in the last hour of the show. To me, I'm going to talk about what is going on in sports now. Not what might go. I mean, yes, it's fine to talk about what might go on in the fall, right? We gave our win-loss projections for Clemson and South Carolina both. Lonzo and I have beat into the ground. If there's a spot that DJ loses his job, where is it? I said week 5, right? If DJ's not going to be the starter, he's out week 5. There's also stuff that I think can change that conversation, right? If tomorrow we get the news report that DJ Uiagalelei showed up in the clubhouse 25 pounds heavier with a bucket full of Bojangles chicken, that changes that conversation. There's something new. There's a development. There's something to add to the mix now. There's something to add into that conversation that changes the end result and therefore might change our opinion on it. And that's good. But we don't have any of that, right? So were you guys looking for another conversation about DJ might lose his job to Cade Klubnik? Or would you prefer to talk? And again, I'm not asking that. I know this sounds like a sarcastic question, and it's not. I promise it's not. Scout's honor, it is sincere as I can be, right? It's sincere as I can get. Would you guys rather talk about what is actually happening in sports, or would you rather talk about hypotheticals from college football? 98 days from now? We're a tick under 100 days away from football. We have still got fall camp to go through. We've still got scrimmages to go through. We've still got two-a-days to go through, right? 98, 97, whatever it is, days from college football. Do you want another segment on, could DJ keep his job? Or would you rather hear a little bit about everything that's going on in sports? That's a genuine question I would love for you to answer. And text me your answer at 71307 on the Preferred Home Services text line. Start your text with FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. Let me take a break. We'll come back. We will wrap up hour number 2 and stream into hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. It can't be Infinity War, right? Can't.
I'm not going to put this on Twitter, but Winter Soldier is trending because people are mad that people are saying Winter Soldier is the movie.
Yeah, no, Winter Soldier. My first reaction was Winter Soldier can't go, and Infinity War can't go.
I couldn't see which Thor is that. Is the original
Ragnarok?
Is it Ragnarok? Okay.
I'm going Multiverse of Madness. I think it's important to the story. But if you ask me Multiverse of Madness or Ragnarok, I loved Ragnarok.
I think it also depends on, do you lean more towards the serious or do you lean more towards, although Ragnarok was serious.
Ragnarok was amazing.
But it was also
hilarious.
Yeah.
So for those of you on the stream, Lonzo sent me a tweet.
I forgot my name again.
Well, I was reading Keegan's name on the stream. There's a game that people play on Twitter called One Gotta Go. And basically you have 4 options and you have to pick which one of those 4 would you get rid of. Well, Lonzo sent me one that was Marvel movies. And the 4 Marvel movies were Captain America Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Thor Ragnarok, or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And the correct answer, without a doubt, is Multiverse of Madness, as good as it is. I don't think it goes into the pantheon of, like, greatest Marvel movies.
It goes in the next one.
Yeah, it goes on the second tier list, right?
Yeah,
be
what
fine
I
with
mean
that.
is, here's the next one. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
the
yeah,
next major one. It's
Right.
just the next one, which you will use to get somewhere else.
Rob, have you seen Morbius? No, Steven, I have not seen Morbius, and I'm going to. I'm not going to watch it, but
He won't like it. He won't, and
Why?
that because a lot of people didn't like it. So, and that's fine. And it's not that you won't like it because it's popular to not like it. There's a reason to not like it. It wasn't great. It
It's
wasn't.
just bad.
It's
not
not.
as
It's
bad.
not as bad as everyone says. I think there are enough cool points on it to make it not horrible. You know, if there are certain parts of the movie that just kind of stand out, and you're like, oh, yeah, there were some throwback lines to older vampire movies that that resonated with me. So, and Matt Smith is awesome in just about anything he's in. So. But I have bias because he's one of my favorite Doctor Who's.
So if I wanted to get into Doctor Who, where would you recommend that I start?
Start with Eccleston, which was when the reboot happened.
Okay. So I don't need to go back and watch OG Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Who.
Doctor
Eccleston,
Who.
Eccleston started it back again. It had been gone for a long time, and they rebooted it with him. I think he only lasts a season to 2 seasons, but that takes you right into Tennant, and Tennant is there for a really long time.
Yeah.
But there's crossover as far as companions go, so it's good to start right there.
Okay.
There's a lot of British humor in there and things like that.
Listen, I'm a big fan of British humor. Always have been.
But the writing back then was really, really good. The last couple of years of writing has not been good.
Yeah.
And they're going back to one of the old writers now, and I'll get back into it then. And people think, well, you left Doctor Who because they made Doctor Who a woman. I don't care. We gave it some time, but the writing was not good.
Yeah.
And they've already cast the next guy who's a black dude. Cool. Just let
Just make the show good.
writing good, make the show good.
Yeah.
I just found a mod on Fallout where you can make Daleks, which is one of the big bads from Doctor Who, show up in the game.
In Skyrim?
No, in Fallout, but
Fallout.
but still, yeah, I'm doing that.
I have on Skyrim.
Same company.
Texter says, move on from DJ if he loses his job. Talk about it when it happens. That's, again, that's always been my approach to radio.
That's a sensible thing. Yeah.
That's always been my approach to radio. Has been talk about what's happening, right?
Speaking about what's happening, I think it's a good deal to bring it back up when they get back in camp.
Yeah, 100%.
Because then you're going to see,
happening.
yeah.
I'll give you a quick nightmare story from back in the day. I used to produce for a guy, Alonzo. Tell me how you'd feel about this. I used to produce for a guy many moons ago that ran a show that was popular. And this is where my confusion, this is where my little bit of self-doubt spurs from. I produced for a guy down in Destin towards the very beginning of my career who had a wildly popular show. Okay? Very popular show. All he did was SEC football. That's it. Nothing else. He'd dabble in SEC baseball like when Hoover rolled around and into NCAA tournament time. He would dabble in SEC basketball if there was a good SEC basketball team like Florida was back in the day. He would celebrate when the SEC won anything. He wouldn't talk about it. He'd just celebrate how great they were. But it was SEC football only. And the reason I ask this is because today is the day that I had the flashback. This guy would start, Zoe, every single summer With 99 days left to go to college football, the primary subject on the show every year, Lonzo, was who's the best number 99 to ever play college football? 3 hours. 3 hours. That was it. Who's the best number 99 to ever play college football? Ignore the NBA Finals, ignore Major League Baseball, ignore the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, ignore everything. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to be into everything, but he'd ignore all of them and do 3 hours of who's number 99. And then on day number 98, who's the best number 98 in college football history? And then on 97, who's the best number 97? And then you got a real treat on Fridays and Mondays, Lonzo. You got a real treat because if, Friday was number 50, and Saturday was 49 days till college football, and Sunday was 48. On Friday, you'd get who's the best number 50 and number 49 to play college football. And then on Monday, you'd get who's the best number 48 and number 47 to play college football. That was the real treat for you. 99 days consecutively. The show topic would be who's the best player to ever wear number blank in college football. And I used to want to beat myself with a baseball bat to escape how awful it was. But his show was wildly popular. And it's like, I want to tell him this is terrible radio, but he's got ratings and he's got sponsors and he got endorsement and he's got numbers. Maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe people don't really care about sports. Maybe they just only care about their thing.
I'm okay with those kind of shows every once in a while, but not every single day. That's like a Wednesday show in the middle of the summer.
That's like a Wednesday in July show.
Yeah.
When all you got's baseball, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not okay.
Although the last couple of years, we've been fortunate or unfortunate to have, COVID aside, when sports were going as they should, to have some sort of scandal or something going on.
Yeah.
Where we were able to talk about it every single day.
Think about it. Go back to COVID, right? Like COVID, Mark Ryan and I have said to each other a number of times, neither one of us has any concerns about anything in the future being able to disrupt our ability to do the job because we got through COVID.
Hey,
dude.
we not only did we kill it, but you and I won the award for the best sports show in a year
there was no sports.
when there were no sports.
Now
so.
think about what we got when we do got sports now, man.
Exactly.
Right?
No, we're the only ones that can say that.
Yeah.
So
we won the best sports talk show that talked about sports when there wasn't no sports to talk about. Think about what we can do when we do have sports. Right? So, my thought is, like, when it's July and all we got is baseball. Now, again, I can do a 3-hour baseball show. You know how I know that? Because every Saturday, I do a 4-hour baseball show, right? I can do it. Y'all don't want me to. Scratch that. Some of y'all want me to, like a fringe minority of y'all would listen to me do a 3-hour baseball only show. But that is a good time to dive in and do other stuff, right? That'd be a good time to dive in and do who's your favorite middle linebacker to ever play college football. All right, cool. It kills a couple of segments when there's not much else going on. I get it. That's fine. But 99 days of who's your favorite player to ever wear this jersey number. And people ate it up. And so to this day, there's this little bit of doubt in me that goes, all right, Lonzo and I are bringing you NBA playoff breakdowns every day. Good ones. Lonzo and I are bringing you Stanley Cup playoff updates as they go. I'm keeping you up to date with the Braves, the NL East, and Major League Baseball, right? I'm keeping you up to date with MLS. I'm keeping you up to date with the Greenville Triumph, the Greenville Drive, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. I'm keeping you up to date with things that are happening. But will more of y'all prefer more hypotheticals about stuff that's not? All right. Next hour of the show, actual sports. We may do a little Fanboy Friday because Lonzo saw Top Gun Maverick. I'm not going to make him talk about it, though, because you got to listen to the Upstate Pulse tomorrow for that. We'll see how we feel. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Cool, man. One of the Peter Pearson, who plays for the Greenville Triumph, just got selected to represent St. Lucia's men's nationals team in the CONCACAF tournament, which means he'll be playing Team USA.
All right, where's St. Lucia?
St. Lucia's in the Caribbean.
Ah, okay.
Or Caribbean if you used to work at a Disney theme park.
Apologies to anyone who was looking for the First Hour podcast. I just didn't put it up yet, but I will in a moment.
Nobody listens to my show.
I will not tolerate that kind of naysaying. We get just as many downloads as any other local show on this station. So I found an app, and I'm thinking about paying for it. But this is I've never really thought about this, and it's really smart. Somebody has taken a golf app and have created it finally to where you video yourself from all four angles swinging a golf club, right? So like from the front, back, left, and right. And then it takes that and it generates a 3D model of your swing. And then it tells you like what body parts need to be doing what to fix your swing and correct your swing. They have swing coaches analyze it and go, okay, you're breaking your wrist too early or late. You're swinging your hips too early or late. Which is really like, what an interesting use of technology. That sounds cool. I'm sorry, I got the same alert about no space, even though it says there's 511 gigabytes free, which means maybe the integrity of said drive, as we've been warned about, is about to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
And that is scary.
Seems bad.
I was around for the last couple of times that happened. Lost many a good file in those crashes.
I can still hear the sounds of those files playing.
They were screaming. No. Yeah, the fact that we're seeing hard drives in every room, it's got me a little suspicious, you know?
Yeah, I don't find it to be a coincidence that Chris walked in there
Yeah,
and was like, hey, here's everything you've ever done in radio on this hard drive.
Yeah.
Don't lose it.
We're just going to put it over here.
Don't lose it.
Just going to set it over here, and it'll be right there in case,
you need,
you need it. Yes. We also know that if he's actually listening or watching, he'll be in here in a second to
Hey,
defend
Captain America,
himself.
Chris Evans down the hall. Welcome to the stream, buddy. How do you break down unwritten rules?
Well, there's no way to check it, so you could just make it up.
Yeah. You know, one of the unwritten rules is that on the third Tuesday of every month, you have to wear your hat cocked 45 degrees to the side. If you don't, the pitcher's going to beam you.
That seems strangely specific. As if that might actually be a rule. I don't know.
It's unwritten, Lonzo. You'll never know.
Now I got that song in my head that I don't really know the lyrics is.
Nailed it. I know exactly what it's talking about.
I think it says the future is unwritten or something at the end of it. I don't know. Or your story is anyway.
The revolution will be televised.
golf cart in the first break. Wow, is that going to be a problem later? I bet that will. Huh.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. How y'all doing? Great to be with you again. I'm Rob, the professor of perfection, the wizard of wave, the hater of hypotheticals, the sultan of swag. The great one Lonzo sits directly across the glass from me. We're glad to have you guys along for the ride, man. Keegan said, I almost had a heart attack. That volume is solid today. No, I'm bringing it today, Keegan. It's Friday, man. Not only is it Friday, it's the last hour of Friday. Not only is it the last hour of Friday, it's the last hour of Friday with a 3-day weekend, a NASCAR race, an AEW pay-per-view, a nationally syndicated radio show, a good old-fashioned country cookout, and a hell of a lot of sleeping in all lined up for the weekend. You know, Zoe, there's just some days that it's good to be me.
Good to be it's good to be alive, period. It's not just about you, Rob. It's good to be me too. It's good to be Keegan. It's good to be any of the listeners because the sun is shining. It is a wonderful day. It's a long weekend for some. Unfortunately, some people still have to work, but they're still going to have a good day.
You. I will tweet at you.
He will. He will. He absolutely will. And by the way, I just want to point out to Keegan, levels are good over here, man, because, you know.
Baby! I'm just in a good mood, man. It's a good mood. Let's see how this one goes over. Might be able to ruin that. Actually, maybe I'll ruin it. Some of you are going to be very happy about it. We've got an article up from Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. And Mikey Mike, remember during or leading up to the draft, there was a lot of discussion from a lot of very intelligent and very handsome sports talk radio show hosts around the nation that said to you, the Carolina Panthers will absolutely be in play for Baker Mayfield, the soon-to-be former quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. I said, yo, Carolina is going to be in the mix for Bake. And if they don't at least call Cleveland and try to get Bake out of there, I'm going to consider that a disappointment. Welp. Carolina, Lonzo, according to Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, 4 weeks ago, Carolina did indeed engage the Cleveland Browns in discussions about a possible trade for Baker Mayfield. However, the deal, obviously, did not happen. Why? Because Baker Mayfield is owed $18.8 million worth of guaranteed salary this year. The Panthers already have a lot of QB money wrapped up, obviously, in Sam Darnold. So taking on another 18 was going to be rough. So the Panthers, as I told you they would, went back to C-Town and said, hey, Browns, meet us in the middle. Will you pay some of Baker's salary this year, the 18.8 guaranteed this year? Will you come off of a little bit of it? And if you will, we'll make that trade. The Browns, according to Mike Florio, were willing to come off a little bit of Baker's salary. Of the 18.8, the Panthers wanted the Browns, according to Mike Florio, and he is sourcing Jonathan Alexander of the Charlotte Observer. According to Mike Florio, the Panthers wanted the Browns to pay $13 to $14 million of Baker's salary. He's owed 18.8. Would have kept Carolina on the hook for a ballpark of $5 to $6 million for Baker Mayfield. The Browns said no. Now, I will also say, obviously, that it may not have been just the fact that the Browns were unwilling to pay that much of Baker's contract and not keep him on the roster, right? Which makes sense, right? If you're going to pay the guy $13 or $14 million, Lonzo, what's another $4 and just keep him on the roster as trade bait? Because even if you don't play him next year, if he refuses to play, if he's willing to play for you this year, great. You got one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league, or Deshaun Watson is not allowed to play, in which case you got a starter who needs game film to get a guy to get a squad next year. If he refuses to play, great. You're only going to have to pay him a couple of $1 million of that of what he would overall be owed. And if that is the case, great. You save some money, and next year you got trade bait one more time again. Who knows? But let's not forget, there is one other issue on the table, obviously, and that is what the Panthers would have sent to the Browns in terms of trade compensation. The Panthers may very well have said, yo, we're going to send you a 6th rounder next year, and we'll take $6 million of Baker's salary off your hands. You pay him 13 of that 18.8. We'll pay him 6, and we'll send you a draft pick, 6th rounder, yes or no? And the Browns said no. The Browns said no. So I would also say, and Florio points this out in his article, and it's a good catch, it's a good eye. But he says, the less the Panthers were willing to give by way of picks, the more of Mayfield's salary the Panthers would be willing to pay. That is to say, if the Browns said, we want your next year's 2nd round pick, the Panthers go, all right, we'll give you the 2nd round pick, but you're going to pay $15 million of his $18 million salary. If the Browns said, we want a 7th round pick, the Panthers go, all right, we'll give you a 7th, and we will pay $12 million of his $18 million salary. Compensation's going to be, ratioed. The higher the pick we give you, the less we're going to pay his contract. The lower the pick we give you, the more we'll pick up in his contract. Clearly, it fell apart. The Browns instead went ahead, traded up, got Matt Corral out of the draft. However, since then, Scott Fitterer has said, quote, I would say quarterback or any other position, if there's somewhere out there we think can help us, we'll keep our minds open. We have the money set aside to make several different moves, and that was important for us to do. We want that flexibility, but if someone can help us, regardless of position, we'll make a move at some point. He was asked about quarterback. He kind of made it hey, everybody on the team is up for an improvement. Every position on the team is up for an improvement. If the guy's there, we kept the money locked aside for that. Which part of that money is money that would have gone to Baker Mayfield. So my question here, Lonzo, is it is looking more and more by the day like Sam Darnold will be trotted out as your week 1 starter. It looks more and more by the day that Matt Corral is going to be your number 2 as a true rook. If you're the Panthers, in retrospect, now that it's over, now that we're past it, in retrospect, will the Panthers look back and gone, we could have picked up another 4 or 5 mil of Baker's salary, made that trade, and had him out here because Darnold ain't the guy and Matt Corral's not ready?
That's going to depend on if Baker Mayfield plays somewhere, because then it's still speculation. If he's just sitting the bench or sitting out for an entire year, you can keep saying, well, we could have done better with him, but you don't really know because you're not seeing how he's playing now. How has he recovered from his injuries, all that kind of stuff. And speaking of injuries, we know Sam Darnold got injured last year.
Sure.
He had a couple games, especially the first couple, where he looked pretty good. There was another player on the field at that time. That would be Christian McCaffrey. And
I'll say right now, I could play a decent quarterback if I had him by me.
well, yeah, just
Just throw it over there.
let's see if they actually play Christian the way they should and not, make everything go
Running
through
him
him.
directly into the face of middle linebackers.
Which even still, he did pretty good until he got hurt. But yeah, if Sam Darnold is your starter, chances are you're just looking until next year. Because as I've said before, I don't think Rule's going anywhere. And we know the crop of quarterbacks next year are going to be really, really good.
We talked to Rashad Beard yesterday. We'll do it again next Thursday. He said expect Christian McCaffrey to be on a very limited pitch count in the preseason, which is the correct way to handle him, right? At this point, CMC's odometer is running, and it's running high, especially for a guy that plays a small back style of football that keeps being run as an ISO guy into the waiting arms of very angry large men playing middle linebacker and defensive tackle. He is on a very limited pitch count in this preseason, which means that in this preseason, and by the way, keep in mind, we're down to 3 preseason games now. There's only 3. Usually you're going to see game 1, the starters are going to get 2-3 series. A lot of reps for the second and third team guys. Fourth quarter goes to the last guys to see who makes the cut. Second preseason game, that's where you're going to see the majority of the action for the guys who are your starters. They're going to play a half, maybe a few of them into the third quarter to get their chemistry down. That's where we'll see. If CMC's on limited pitch count, that's where we'll get to see what Sam Darnold is, right? Because if Sam Darnold looks the same without Christian McCaffrey as he did without Christian McCaffrey last year, I think you're in trouble. Now, that, of course, works on the assumption that they do not bring in a vet quarterback between now and then. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307 says, guys, I feel like they are waiting on Jimmy Garoppolo to clear on the DL to get him. You still got to trade for Jimmy G, right? Like, I think the 49ers, even if they are trying to move on to Trey Lance, which I think they are, right? I think they've made that pretty clear. Even if they're trying to move on to Trey Lance, they've still got Jimmy G under contract. He's still a 49er, whether he likes it or not, right? They are not just going to give him away either. They will have him go through a
What's
Baker
the backup
situation.
situation in San Francisco? Because if you want Garoppolo, maybe you package Darnold as part of the trade.
So it's the problem. I said this towards the end of last year. Sam Darnold's trade value is cratered right now. Nobody wants him, right? Nobody wants him. Nobody's going to take Sam Darnold for any reason. Trey Lance, by the way, on ESPN right now, for the 49ers depth chart, they have Trey Lance listed as the starter and Jimmy Garoppolo listed as the second team. Their backups, though, are Nate Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. You know, Nate Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. the dudes.
You ever think sometimes they just make up names on their roster to see if anyone notices? I know these are real guys, but still, they could get away with it because how often do you ever see the third string quarterback anyway?
Fourth string running back for the 49ers is JaMycal Hasty. That's a made-up running back name. His name is Hasty. It just means fast.
Yeah, that's a
made-up ass name.
It's a video game
That's
name.
a video game
for
name.
sure. It is.
At starting wide receiver, Johnny Grabs. At running back, Larry Speed. Like, stop it. By the way, you know who the third string running back for the 49ers is, Alonzo?
All those things would work in WWE. Those are great names.
Correct. Johnny Elite. Third string running back. How about Trey Sermon from the Ohio State University?
He won't stay.
He was a
third
beast
string
till he got hurt, dude.
He won't stay third string.
Trey Sermon was a monster till he got hurt. Texture says, fan, this is a painful reminder of how bad the Panthers are with their money. Dude, this year for the Panthers, to me, you know, Lonzo has said, and he's actually bought me into the argument. I think he's right. But Lonzo has said, this is not Matt Rule's last year, regardless of what happens. If he goes 0-17, he's blanked, he's out. But he won't. They've got talent to win 3 or 4. They could be coached into 5-7. They could be well coached into 8 or more. They got the talent. Unless he gets blanked and has an 0 for season and joins the Lions and the Bucks, it's not his last year, and I agree with that. It's a second to last year. He's got to develop this year. But the question again is, do they go get a vet quarterback? Scott Fitterer has said, hey, look, if we can find the dude, we'll get the dude. They asked for a big discount for Baker Mayfield. The Browns said no thanks. The Browns may find themselves backed into a corner where they don't have a choice. I think the Browns said no because the Browns are also now realizing that Deshaun's no guarantee for this year. And oh, by the way, he's not a guarantee for next year because the reports are coming out that the NFL is considering a 2-year suspension for Deshaun Watson. 2 years. That's not to say Baker Mayfield's still going to want to be there, but nobody else has been willing to pay mucho. If Baker Mayfield was Aaron Rodgers, he's already on another team, right? If he was just slightly less good than Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield's already on another team. But he's not. He's good. But he's not already on another team good. The Panthers know that. They can play the long game here. And they can play the long game because they can also let the Browns know Jimmy G's right there too, man. And the 49ers got to ditch him as well. Whoever makes us the best deal, will take that guy off their hands. Right? Whoever charges us less. And by the way, for the record, I'm fine with it, right? If you ask me Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield, which one do I want, Lonzo? The answer is whichever one's cheaper, right? I got a guy in Baker that I think can do it. I got a guy in Baker that I think is going to come out next year and play with a reckless abandon because he's furious at how his time ended in Cleveland. Jimmy G's been to 2 NFC Championship games. Just came off of one literally last year. Which one do I prefer for Carolina? Whichever one's cheaper. And bonus to whichever one's cheaper, and I can send you Sam Darnold and get that off the books, right? Or at least a chunk of it. Texture says, Bake the Snake wasn't that bad last year before he got hurt. He wasn't. Bake the Snake has not been bad in Cleveland at all. And remember, he took over a 1-win Cleveland team and has taken them to the playoffs. And by the way, last year was a busted leg away from probably competing with Cincinnati.
Popular narrative for some reason, and I keep saying this, for some reason, sports media, especially national sports media, pick a guy that they don't like for whatever reason, and then he becomes a topic on every single show. Every single show. When you look stat-wise and look at what he was able to do for Cleveland, the people in Cleveland were pretty happy about that. I know Cleveland fans who were really happy about what he was able to do for them. Did he get them to the Super Bowl? No.
But he got them damn closer than they've been for 3 decades.
Without a doubt.
You know?
And he was actually there a couple years instead
Yeah.
of who's the quarterback
He didn't
this week?
bail on you.
I don't know.
He didn't bail on you. He didn't come in and suck so bad that you replaced him with a refrigerator with a jersey, because that would have been just as talented, right? I've told you guys, I had a Browns fan named Kellen. Put a huge roll of duct tape down the side of my fridge back about circa 2005. And every year he would come over, every game he'd come over and scratch off the last quarterback the Browns had and write the next one on there. And he about made it to the bottom of my fridge. And then Banks showed up. Drafted to a 1-win football team. Has gotten you to the playoffs. Has got Cleveland fans believing. And now you're about to jettison him. The Panthers were going to offer you what? $5.5 million? You still got to pay 13 or 12 of it? Cool, man. Browns go to Browns. And ticked off the commission away that your new QB is going to catch a 2-year suspension while Bake goes somewhere else. Baker Mayfield and the Panthers, Lonzo, good enough to make the playoffs. I'm happy to say that on the record.
Absolutely.
As a wild card,
Yeah.
but good enough to make the playoffs. Jimmy G and the Panthers, good enough to make the playoffs. Call that shot now. Sam Darnold and the Panthers, not good enough to make the playoffs. Agree? Disagree with any or all three?
I agree with all of them. But Sam Darnold has a possibility. I don't hate coming back to this every time. Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, you got a shot to make the playoffs.
We'll see. We'll see.
And if you play good defense, which they should. On paper, they looked pretty good last year. This year, they look even better. And you've got your offensive line has been shoring up a little bit. So if everything meshes well, maybe whoever the quarterback is stays upright a little bit and is able to actually look down the field and find an open receiver.
Texter says maybe Jimmy G and Elijah Mitchell in return for Sam Darnold and Christian McCaffrey. Get a young art. No, what? No. If I'm San Francisco, I'm telling you, beat it.
Some people
I'm not giving you
some
Elijah.
people just hate on Christian McCaffrey. They just do.
No. I'm telling you, beat it. Because I'm going to take the 24-year-old Elijah Mitchell, who scared a 1,000-yard season this year, over a plays 1 out of every 3 games Christian McCaffrey. Listen, I like
not
Christian.
trading McCaffrey. That's just they're not good. The Panthers are not going to trade McCaffrey.
I don't think the Panthers are going to trade McCaffrey either. But I'm also not taking
right
this
now,
trade.
at least at this moment, McCaffrey still is the face of that team.
I love this text. Preferred Home Services text line 71307. Start your text with fan. Texter says, LOL at McCaffrey staying healthy. That's not a bad text. If you are building this team to rely on CMC staying healthy to carry you, you're screwed. Because he's not. If McCaffrey makes it through this season and misses less than 3 games due to injury, I don't know, man. I'll blow him a kiss on the stream. I got nothing. I don't see it happening. If it hadn't happened in the last few years, why would it happen all of a sudden? How do you work around that? Quick break. Back after this. Rob Alonzo, you. The Rob Brown Show's on the Fan Upstate.
Golf cart. Oh.
Your job is to go back through, and ordinarily it's from.
I was gonna say, you could tell me this, and I'll just be like, "Oh, cool," and I have no idea if it's real.
No, it's like ordinarily it's like the person that the company would hire to honestly and fairly fact check the company. Like you would be paid by the company, but you don't work for them, right?
I just went back on stream, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know if I'm
Are you
stream.
okay with this? How this semi truck is parked out here?
Oh well, now obviously I have.
Oh no!
Yeah, I know.
Haha.
No.
You don't see it on the ground, do you?
Right hand side.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a small window,
Well,
but
he
the
wasn't
window is
parked. He
there.
was just taking a break. He's leaving.
Of course, I missed that one. He just goes, cut that one out.
Mark Ryan just said on his morning sports spin, I don't have many rules in life, but one of my rules in life is to be the man, you've got to beat the man.
What?
Correct. Okay, so we're going to talk about that, right?
That's a gauntlet right there.
So we're going to talk about that. All
I'm sorry I missed that.
I heard it and I was like, I am 100% sure that is not your rule of life.
When I was on his show, he asked what the top 3 sports are, in college. And I said it depends on region because and he was talking about how baseball had moved down on the list. And that, so I said football, basketball, and wrestling. Oh, well, you can. It's like, dude, if you're in Indiana, if you're in Iowa, if you're in Pennsylvania, if you're in Big Ten country, wrestling is huge. Yeah. Oh, well, you're talking about the other wrestlers. It's like, it's like, come on, man.
College professional wrestling.
We're yeah.
Let me tell you something, Gators.
This has become a.
What you gonna do, brother, when the Tigers run wild on you, brother? I don't even know how to set this up, Lonzo. I don't know how to set this up.
Hypocrisy. A discussion that's been had, by the way, before between this person and myself. So, I mean, you cannot use wrestling phrases anywhere in your entire life if all you do is ridicule and downplay anyone who is a wrestling fan. It is not allowed, especially if you're one of those persons who believes in unwritten rules. This is not an unwritten rule. This is a rule of life. If you don't like wrestling, you are not allowed to use a wrestling phrase.
All right. Let me
Not allowed.
I said, I don't know how to set this up, Lonzo. And Lonzo said, don't set it up. Just start punching. Which I respect. Very FTR of you.
Oh, no. It's
Yes! Yes!
Still got a half hour.
Yes!
I still got a half hour.
So, during the break, now, I want to start this by saying, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite sports talk radio show that does not involve me is Offsides with Mark Ryan. This is my favorite sports talk radio show, for the record. But Offsides with Mark 3 to 7. Mark does an incredible job. Phenomenal job. You should listen to it. If you're not listening to it, you're doing it wrong. All right? However, I was listening to Mark's Morning Sports Spin, which I enjoy listening to on the show every morning. I don't leave the room during this break to listen to it.
I do. I had to tinkle.
I have to think. And Mark says, I don't have many rules in life, but one of those rules is to be the man, you've got to beat the man. Now, for the record, I agree. For the record.
Is Rob picking up his phone, seeing his message, get my name out your mouth? We're going to get a strongly worded email later, and it's fine. It's fine. You know what? You don't want us talking about you? Quit using wrestling phrases.
Sometimes you got to make a stand.
You do.
Keep my show's name out your mouth. So he says, I don't have many rules in life, but one of them is to be the man, you've got to beat the man. So what I'd like to say there, without turning this into a whole big to-do, is that, Mark, you have Ric Flair as a mentor. You have Ric Flair.
A life
you,
coach. Yeah.
With a rule for one of your rules for life comes directly from the greatest bad guy in the history of professional wrestling. One of your rules of life comes from arguably the most well-known wrestler of all time that's not Hulk Hogan.
I'd really love to make this into a promo, but we know what happens to those.
You have set a standard that you bear in your life via your own words. And I heard them with my own 2 ear holes. You have set a standard that you carry through your life based off of the guidance, the leadership, the experience, and the success of one Ric Flair. Woo. So,
And by the way, I just want to say it's not a bad guidance to go by, but you
No.
just got to admit where it came from
yeah,
and who your mentor is.
here's it. Mark,
Who's your daddy, Mark?
we embrace this from you. We are glad that you have learned that you can take things from professional wrestling and enjoy them and integrate them into your life for fun or knowledge or success or experience. I'll be honest with you. There are lessons I've learned from professional wrestling about how to do this show. I've taken a little Ric Flair. I've taken a little Andre the Giant. I've taken a little Macho Man. I've taken a little Ric Flair, little MJF at times to develop Rob Brown as a radio show host. There's nothing wrong with it. I do it every day. I encourage you, Mark, and I'm glad to hear that you don't have many rules in life, but one of them is Ric Flair. To be the man, you've got to beat the man. We embrace you. We welcome you into this. I just want to remind you that when you go on your show and you call us the show for boys, and you claim that Lonzo and I have matching wrestling pajamas, and you make
Which
fun
is
of us,
not inaccurate, by the way.
and you make fun of us for, quote, not having hair on our peaches, end quote. That's all fine.
Wait. Did he?
Oh, I've heard that a lot of times.
Okay. I'd like to know how he knows.
Hair on the peaches. When you go and you accuse us of having matching pajamas and being the show for boys and not having hair on the peaches and all of that, and that's all fine. I get it. You know why? Because Lonzo and I have also learned how to cut a promo and how to take a good promo cut on us. We're fine with it, right? I just want you to remember that when you are saying these things about us, you said that one of your only rules of life is to be the man, you got to beat the man. That's a wrestling catchphrase, all right? I just want you to remember that. For us, for the from the show for you boys to the show for men. So remember that you said on my show today that you don't have many rules of life, but one of them is to be the man, you got to beat the man, which is a catchphrase from and only from the one and only Ric Flair. Woo.
And I just would like to, and this might be controversial, I want to quote a wrestler also and say, you want some? Come get some.
Listen, man. My heart is full of joy for you. It's full of happiness for you because now I know that somewhere in there, that all of the hate, all the promos being cut, all the nicknames about the show, All the jokes about matching pajamas and wrestling in our undies and no hair on the peaches. Now I know why it's there, Mark Ryan. Now I know why it's there. It's all there because deep inside, there's just that little part of you that likes professional wrestling. And you don't dare let the people know that it's there. You don't dare let them know that there's just the littlest part inside your heart that likes the wrestling. And the only way to keep it deep down, to keep it hidden from the world, is to make fun of Zoe and I and those of us that like wrestling. Mark, let it out. Let it out. It's okay.
It will be freeing for you.
It will.
That burden will be lifted.
You can come over for Double or Nothing Sunday. I'll watch the pay-per-view with you.
There'll be snacks.
There will be snacks. Because wrestling's fun.
He might even serve up a White Claw or two just for you.
I will bring all the White Claw. Or Truly, or whatever it is. All right.
Well, what is Truly?
It's like White Claw, but like less not good.
Okay.
Texter says, woo! Is Mr. Ryan a closet Nature Boy fan? Inquiring minds would like to know. I think Mark likes the Nature Boy. Woo! I'm just saying. I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm just saying he quoted him today on the show and claimed that he follows Ric Flair's advice as one of his rules for life. I'm just saying.
Looking at each of us as a wrestling character, Mark is Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game. Used to be a limousine riding, jet flying,
Kiss stealing,
wheeling
dealing, son of a gun.
Used to be.
Texter says, now I have to do nothing but text wrestling catchphrases during Mark's show. I will not offer advice on that at all. Okay? I won't do it.
We will not tell you text line is 71307. Start your text with fan.
Texter says, fan, to quote Sting, the only thing that is for sure is that nothing is for sure. Also, the second time that somebody has quoted a Sting, Lonzo had us both Googling Sting lyrics yesterday.
It was a good lyric, by the way.
It's a great lyric.
Yeah.
Texter says, I bet Mark walks around the house in a fake Nature Boy robe, throwing up the four fingers.
All right. Trey wants to know who the rest of us would be. I got to say, I'm going to take it before Rob does. I'm Dusty Rhodes.
Thought of a plum of the American dream.
What did he have?
Listen here. It's hard times out there, Daddy. Hard times. I'm fine with that.
We know who Rob is.
I don't know. I think I put on the MJF character on the air because it's funny to me, right? It would be amazing if I could number, and I can't. If I could number how many times people have met me in real life and been like, dude, you're not a jerk. Because and I probably get myself in trouble because I do play this kind of like, I do put on.
Wow, they never say that to me. It's like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. It's fun for me to kind of act up like I'm a bit of a jerk. I'm really not. I'm really a really nice guy. If you ask me who I would be, Scott Hall. Not Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. That's who I'd be. A little bit of bad guy, but cool. Hey, yo.
All right, there's one guy left. That would be Diesel.
See,
Diesel would say he's Diesel, but Diesel can't be Diesel because he's not tall enough.
I was literally going to say, I would say Diesel is Kevin Nash, but we're not tag team partners. Maybe he's just Diesel by himself. Maybe he's just old Kevin Nash.
Yeah, but then he'd be big sexy. And, he just...
Diesel might be a little Moxley. He might be a little
you know
Moxley.
What? I think he may be right.
He might be a little Moxley. So you got Mark the Nature Boy Ryan. You got Diesel Moxley. You got the American Dream Lonzo.
Without the polka dots.
And then Rob A.O. Brown. I like it. Steven says, Rob, put the bat down.
Yeah, I know you guys are seeing I'm a little nervous about it. I'm a little nervous, but not for the reason you think. I'm not worried about, an Untouchables thing happening. If you get the reference, then, it's all about being a team player. I'm more worried about the glass.
Texter says, oh, where'd it go? Rob, I'll go over when Mark says, oh, yeah, on his show. Hey, man, he said to be the man, you got to beat the man. We all know where that phrase came from. You know it, I know it. I also know Twitter Trending Topics is next to wrap up the broadcasting week. On the Diesel is X-Pac! I gotta go! Diesel is X-Pac. What a line.
You know what? There's something about the eyes.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, where I could see that for sure.
Oh, that was funny and ridiculous.
And we'll pay for it.
Correct, but...
Or I'll pay for it.
But
I mean,
But I had fun. Hey, yo.
By the way, you don't have to text wrestling catchphrases to Mark's show. Just text woo. And you know what? When you do that, you get he and Diesel.
Woo.
Because Diesel's wooed before. We know. He's admitted to it. Recently, he's wooed. But he didn't know it was a Ric Flair woo. Right.
Right.
I wooed, but it wasn't a Ric Flair woo. It was what was it? Megadeth woo? It was a Lamb of God. Which one was it?
Or what did he say? He said it was a generic Southern woo. I'm like, I think there's a such thing as a generic Southern woo.
A Southern woo is a yeehaw. It's not I mean, come on. Texter says, Mark is more of a Buddy Landell, wants to be the man. Not quite there. Texter says, Mark is gold dust. Zoe is Mankind. Rob is Dusty Rhodes. Mark is Gold Dust. That is 2 back-to-back texts from different numbers saying Mark is Gold Dust. Amazing. I could see you being Mankind. From Mick Foley, a guy I've definitely never interviewed at all. See, they're just looking at size. They're not looking at heart. And because of that, I'm very disappointed. For you being Mankind? No, really what I am is whatever wrestler that's actually a heel, but, comes across as a face all the time. But, You want to be a heel. Sometimes I do. Sometimes you want to be a heel? Correct. No, I just want heel heat. I want to be a baby face with heel heat. Some kind of tweener, kind of like Stone Cold, something like that. Heels that want to be bad guys. Would you ever say there's been a good guy who wants to be a bad guy but can't? Like he's just too likable to be a bad guy? I don't know. Eugene. Your boy Eugene. I want to be that guy in wrestling where he looks really innocent until all these things are happening. People can't figure out what it is, and they go to him, and then on camera, just suddenly that smile comes out like, yeah, it was me. The whole time, it was me. It was me, Austin.
It was me the whole time. You better believe if I owned a wrestling company, I would write myself into every storyline.
I don't know how many people feel like they're going to have a heart attack when they get that weather alert on their phone. That thing is so
I
loud.
went off the other day.
Yeah.
There was that tornado coming towards Taylor's, where I'm living right now, and I was like halfway to a siesta, halfway, and my phone. I did not take a siesta.
Well, that happened to us yesterday. We were just waiting around before we were going to the theater. It's like, yeah, you know what? Let's just go ahead and go.
Yeah. Yo, I love Tracy McGrady, but I don't think I have an interest in a one-on-one basketball league.
Three on three worked. Why not go one on one? I suppose. All right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet. I really just want to slam someone for their wrestling take for the rest of the show, but, not my call. The first thing that's trending is a wrestler. It's Samoa Joe.
Ayo. Samoa Joe. I'm not going to lie. I'm just really hoping you're not about to tell me he's hurt.
No.
Okay.
There is a picture, and you can look this up. There's a picture going around. It's been retweeted a ton of times of Keith Lee with another Samoan guy.
Yeah.
Just standing there. And the original person who tweeted it out said Keith Lee and Samoa Joe.
But it's not.
But it's not. So, of course, you can understand where the tweets are going.
Correct.
Some of them very negatively.
I mean, it's not like Samoa
No,
Joe
this
is
this dude looks nothing like Samoa Joe.
Oh, okay. No, now I got to. No, it does not. No, it does not. Okay. Yeah, that's not going well for that young lady, is it?
You're all excited. You meet there's no denying who Keith Lee is when you meet Keith Lee. That's Keith Lee. That dude is huge. There's no and if he speaks to you, it's him because he's so. I mean, he sounds like a Rhodes Scholar when he talks.
Magnificent.
Yes, which some people don't like because they want him to sound tough and you talk how you talk. All right, the next thing that's trending is Obi-Wan.
So I got to tell you, Lonzo, it almost ruined my night last night because your boy was sitting up yesterday evening, and I watched so much sports yesterday. Lady friend was not feeling well; she went to bed early, so I watched all the sports. I watched Atlanta, Philadelphia. I watched in Major League Baseball. I watched Carolina, New York. I watched Edmonton, Calgary, and then I'm staying up last night. And I'm finishing up whatever the last West Coast baseball game was that I'm watching. And I get a Twitter ding. I'm like, all right, it's weird. Usually people don't tweet me. And I get a tweet 11 hours ago as of now. So would that make it? About midnight last night.
Which would be about right.
Yep. That says the wait is at the Rob Brown Show on Twitter. The wait is over. Hashtag Obi-Wan Kenobi is now streaming on Disney Plus. So basically what it means is I get off the air, got about an hour and a half to 2 hours of work that I got to do to get cleaned up, and then leave me alone because I am going home to watch Obi-Wan.
All right, so I guess the first 2 episodes are streaming, and then will start coming on Wednesday. The next thing that's trending is Stranger Things.
Is that one dropped as well?
Today.
Drop at the same time?
Yes.
Netflix was like, Disney. No, sir. Because I got to tell you, Netflix is hemorrhaging
It is.
members right now, and I got to tell you, they're about to lose me too. Because I've run through everything I want to see on Netflix, right? The only thing Netflix has really been good for lately is stand-up specials, and they're not even really giving me a ton of those that I'm really interested in anymore.
Well,
right?
it's got Stranger Things and also has Witcher, but those are the things
Yeah.
for me, and those are the only reasons why I watch
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah, so I don't know. They're losing people, so I guess they did this to go up against Obi-Wan, but that's it for us, kids. We're out of here. And remember, I don't have many rules in life, but bad times don't last. Bad guys do. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. We'll see y'all next Tuesday. Have a happy Memorial Day. Be safe. Have a great time. Remember this for don't drink and drive. We'll see you on the other side of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right, stream. Thank you guys for hanging out. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be careful. We'll see you.